and I'm going to be silent for a few minutes because I'm just letting students in, writing out some instructions here. And do not do anything till I tell you specifically. So I'm just giving a minute or so to let students in, and I will go in detail what you need to do. All right, so we'll get started now. I have written just some stuff up. I'll be adding more to it as the class goes on. So, we are going to be working on your final exam today, which will go into next week. So, this is December 15th, December 22nd. You're going to submit it at the end of December 22nd, but you will get started on it today. And earlier on, you already did some of the work. I had you submit some stuff for final exam payroll part one. You've done some of it already. We're going to just continue today, and everything will sort of fall together. So, the first thing we're going to do is in VS Code, we are going to create a new Next.js project. So just make sure you open up VS Code and uh, let's just call it final exam. I'm going to change the name up here and create a folder, and I'll just call it final exam. So I'm going to create a new folder, call it final exam, just like that, no dash or anything else. And then I'll select that folder. So let's just create a brand new folder called final exam. And so in here, So we're creating a new folder called final exam. So please do this with me. Now open up your terminal. You should be in the final exam folder. And now I'm going to look up how do you create a Next.js project. So it takes me to the Next.js site, follow instructions there. So installation instructions. Make sure you're using app router and latest version, which is 16.010 now. So make sure you're in there. Instructions are, if you're going to create something called my app, it's sort of giving you installation instruction. So we're going to be using something called npm, not pnpm or anything else. And I'm going to copy this over here. I'm going to modify it a little bit. So first I'll paste it in here. And the difference is that I already have my project, which I'm calling final exam. I don't want to create, if I wanted to give it a new name, yeah, I could do that here. But if I don't want to do that, I can just put a period in here. And what that will do is ensure that it creates a brand new project in the folder that I'm in. So this is what I wanted to say, not what I'm getting from the website. Reason is I've already created a folder called final exam. And in here, when I paste it, and now because I'm pasting it off of Word, it's a little bit messed up. So I'm going to delete this out. So it should be npx create next app at latest. And then I am not giving it a name. I'm not calling it my app or 1234, or it's going to be called final exam. I'm already in that folder and I'm going to say yes. Make sure you record if you are the type who may fall behind. I have given it permission so you can record this session. I am going to go fast because we've done this many, many times. So now it will create a brand new project for me. And we've done this almost every single time. We don't really need to. And it will automatically install Tailwind for us. So in here, add Tailwind at shared CN, and I'm going to put it in parentheses. Will be installed automatically. And shared CN you do need to install yourself. We'll discuss this in a minute. So just going back in here, it created it. And for me to know that this is working or not, all I have to do is type in. First, I'm going to just clear it because I don't like to see a lot of junk. And then I'm just going to say npm run dev to run it. So in here, run it. So by using npm run dev, you can run it. Then I'm going to open it up on localhost 3000 and then see. This is the default application that is running. And of course, this is not what I want. I want my own stuff. So I'm going to go in here and go under the app folder and modify information in here. And again, if you think you might be falling behind, I highly recommend you record today's session. So I'm going to go into first my page.tsx, and all this stuff in here, I'm going to delete it out. This is all default stuff. I don't really need it. So I'm going to delete it all out. And then in here, I go in and I'm going to add these things. I don't really need these semicolons here. Up here, there is an image. I don't really need that. I'm going to remove all of that. And this right here is going to be my home page. And in here, I'll just add an H1 saying home page. And then I'll check my site to see if it's working or not. It is working. It's showing home page and none of that junk. Next, I'm going to go in to the layout, and in there, I'm going to say right here, where the title is on line 16, I'll just say final exam. And in here, where you're saying final exam, I would like you to put your name. So in my case, and this next line is not really necessary. I'm going to just get rid of it. But final exam and your name, so that when I look at your final exam up here, I'll be able to see who you are. So I did that in the layout and then page.tsx. So you're going to create it. And again, I'm not giving detailed instructions here in terms of, modify the layout page, modify the home page. You need to know basically how to do that. Tailwind will be automatically installed, and I will want you to add this thing called shared CN. And in here, I'm going to say, try adding shared CN using cursor. So last week I asked you to download cursor, and I'm gonna download it. So I have my VS Code running, but at the same time, I'm gonna open up the cursor, and it takes a while for it to load up. So I'm gonna just wait for cursor to open up. So when cursor opens up, you need to make sure you select the right folder. It's just like Windows visual code that we were doing. So I'm going to say open folder. I go wherever I saved it. I saved it under accounting 343 final exam. I'm going to select that folder and open it. Your setup screen may look a little bit different. It does not matter. It's the same thing. But basically, you let me see if you're going to use an agent, a new agent. Again, it's already new to begin with. And you can see up here the final exam folder has been loaded up. And I'm going to say add, or let's say install the latest version of shared CN. So take a screenshot if you want to, or whatever. Give it instructions to install the latest version of shared CN and click this button. So it will go in and automatically install it for you. I'm going to go back to this view. So if you look over here right now, I do not have a components folder. Also, if I look at my package.json, not lock, but regular one. If you look through these things over here, it should not be showing me that I have installed shared CN or anything like that. Well, actually, it's still not going to show, but because this one installs a little bit differently. So I'm going to go back to this one. So it looked at it and it's asking for instructions and stuff like that. It's asking if it can run it. You give it permissions. I'm letting it install it right now. And in your case, it will ask you some questions. Do you want to allow it to do it? Just give it permission. Yes, yes, yes. And for me, it just did that. And then you'll get a message saying, okay, I've installed shared CN. And I will know over here because now I should have a components folder. And I'm going to refresh it just to make sure. Now, even though it installed it, it will not allow us to do anything just yet. And this is where it's telling me you can now add components using this command. For example, if you want to add a button, this is what you're going to do. So what I'm going to do is add a button. I'm going to copy it from here. And I like working within VS Code. So I have both open at the same time. I can open up a new terminal. I'll leave this running. I'm going to just open up a new terminal. And in here, I'm going to paste it. So I'm adding a command which says npx shared cn at latest add, and I want to add a button. And when it adds the button for me, it's telling me it will be in the components UI button.tsx folder. So if I look under components, I'll see UI, there is a button created for me. So this is a special shared CN button. So I'm going to go back to my cursor and I'm going to give it instructions. Add a button, and I'll be more precise. Add a shared CN button to my home page. The button should say click me. And I'm intentionally not putting a space in there. Add a shared CN button to my home page. The button should say click me. So it's going to go through and figure out what it needs to do. And it will add a shared CN button for me. So on my home page, it found it and it added the button. Now it's checking if there are errors or not. And what I'm going to do is go look up here. It added a button called click me. I'm going to zoom in. So on my home page, it added a button called click me. But notice no styling, nothing. If I click on it, you can't even tell it's a button. It's pretty bad. But there is a button there. Now, if I go into my page.tsx, notice that it is importing a button automatically. And we have a button called click me. And I want it to look a little bit different. So I'm going to go under my components button and I can look in here. These are variants. So there is a default button, a destructive button, a outline button, a secondary button, a ghost button, and a link button. And there are a whole bunch of sizes that you can have. These are different properties that you can have. And all you have to do is go in and look at it over here. And if it is too complex, you go in here and you can tell it what you want the button to do. So I'm going to open up a new tab and I'm going to Google shared CN button. And we use the term variants to refer to different types of buttons. But if you go to shared CN and you look at buttons, they're telling you, we've made some changes here, etc. And you can see this is like that standard button that I'm looking at. And they show you the code. And they tell you that you can change things about the button. So for example, I could use a variant saying outline. Variant is just another way to say another style. So if I do the same thing on mine for this button, variant is equal to outline. And then you look at my button. It has an outline around it. So I'm just giving you an idea of things that we can do. using this thing called ShatCN. ShatCN has a lot of options. You can do whatever you want to make it look the way you want it. So right here on the left, it's components. All these components are available to you. And within these components, I just went into buttons, and it will show you your options for buttons. So in here, I said add tailwind, it will be and ShatCN, and try adding it using cursor. Next, I said create a theme. So it's your choice what you want as a color scheme. And in fact, I don't want you to repeat what I'm doing. Now, when you create a theme, I'm going to be creating a theme using cursor, but you could create a theme using any of the AI tools that are out there. So I'm going to just use cursor, but I'm going to be very clear. I'm going to just open up a new agent because I want it to forget about all this stuff. So I'm going to just say new agent. So it's like I'm starting fresh. It doesn't know my old history. And I'm going to tell it, create a tailwind CSS 4 plus, because we have the latest edition of Tailwind, which is version 4 plus. Create a Tailwind CSS 4 plus theme using, and I will make up the colors I want. I want turquoise. I don't even know how to spell it. Turquoise, QUIOSC, I believe, using turquoise and let's just say orange. And if you're not sure what you should be doing, you can always go and get help from one of the AI tools. So I will just let me use a chat GPT. And I'm going to just tell it, help me decide what colors go well with, and I'm going to tell it my one color that I have in mind. Help me decide what colors go well with on a website I will be using Tailwind CSS. Tell me in English. I don't want it to start generating code for me. Tell me in English what goes well with it. So if I selected turquoise, and I don't want you selecting the same colors I am. So for dark or navy themes, dark blue goes well with it. Okay, so it's telling me, so I'm gonna tell it now. For a dark theme. I want to use blue with turquoise. Create a global, and what I'm asking it to do is create this file for me, globals.css. This is where initial colors are. Okay, so I'm gonna ask it, create a globals CSS file for me using these colors. Note that I am using Tailwind 4 Plus. And that's going to be very important because Tailwind 3 had completely different stuff. So now I'm telling it to generate code for me. So it's figuring out what needs to be done, and it will generate this file for me. And just be careful till make sure it finishes. So I told it to start using turquoise with blue shades, and it generated this for me. So I'm going to copy it, go to my globals.css, and I'm going to delete everything in here and paste the new content. Now I'm seeing something here saying problems, and it doesn't understand the at rule. So there are ways we can fix it, but this is not really a problem because it's so new. There are ways that you can fix it. And I'm talking Tailwind CSS is relatively new. So I could have told it to create it, but I don't. I usually prefer creating styles outside. So just now, based on this, now I can say ensure that my home page uses my theme colors. So I'm just telling it, hey, modify the home page so it uses theme colors. So it's going to go in and look obviously at the home page, but it should also see again, it's updating it to use theme colors from global CSS. And now if I look at my page, this is my home page. It looks really different. Again, simply because of the style sheet, and I told it, hey, create, a home page with these colors. Primary button is going to look like this, secondary button like this, outline button. So I'm getting somewhere fairly quickly using AI cursor styling. And this is what I mean by create a theme use AI to create a globals.css file for Tailwind 4 Plus. And this is really important. Next, I want to create a menu component. So I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to give instructions. Again, I'm using cursor. So I want to add a menu to my app. So I'm going to tell it, add a menu component to my application. Use shared CN and let me Lucid React icons when possible. So we'll add this to my instructions here. So create a menu component, and the instructions I'm giving it are using shared CN and Lucid React. So we did not install it, but when I tell cursor, it will automatically install it for me. So I'm going back to my cursor, and you will see here in instructions, it will automatically install it for me. Adding a menu component, and so it's an installing shared CN menu component, creating a new menu component, so on and so forth. So if I look in here, it should create a new component which should be in here ideally. So I'm going to give it a minute or two to finish. And then it will add the navigation menu. And keep in mind that cursor is free for limited use. After you use it a little bit, it may ask you to pay. And if you pay, it will be $20 for 1 month. So it should not cost you more than 20, but you will see, once you use it, that it will give you tremendous productivity. You are able to develop things very quickly using these types of commands that I just mentioned. So I'm going to go back in here. So now if I look, and I may have to refresh it, but if I look under globals, I see that a menu component was added, and it was also added to my layout. So in my layout, right at the bottom is your HTML page. So it added the navigation menu to our page. So if I visit my home page, oh, we've got a problem here, and we need to find out why. Okay. So even though I had cursor, install it, something did not work out. So I'm going to tell it to, hey, check for build errors. And I'll put that in here. When using cursor, if the project does not run, ask cursor to check for build errors. So by asking it to check for build errors, it will look through it and try to figure out why it's not working. Why is it not building? So everything compiled successfully, so on and so forth. Looks like it should now be working. And I'm going to refresh it. If it still doesn't work, I'm going to go in here and restart my app. Sometimes it's nothing more than just needing to restart. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to look at my terminals. And I'm going to just sort of delete this out. I'm going to delete this out. I'm going to start fresh. And I'm going to say npm run dev and see if I'm still getting an error. So sometimes when you install new stuff, it gives you an error, but now I go back in and it's working. So it just created a heading on its own. I didn't tell it to call it final exam, but it looked and decided what it wanted to do. It created like a menu structure. Right now, it just put some stuff here. It did a bad job. You can see with the styling, but log out button, it just decided on its own and it put some stuff in there for us. And we have to be specific to tell it, or we need to be able to modify things. So at this stage, what I want to do, I've done quite a bit of work. So I want to save it and I'm going to create a new commit. So I'm going to just call it initial setup and I will commit it. Then I'm going to publish it and I'll publish it as public. So you guys are able to see what I have done. If I open it up on GitHub, everything that I have done is in here. I'm going to send this link. Let me So my GitHub information is up there. Now, when I looked at my own site, and I'm gonna get rid of now a bunch of these tabs because I don't need them. I leave my final exam. I don't need the button tab. I don't need this. And I really don't need this one either. So I just want to keep it simple. Just a project that I'm working on. I don't like the triangle. So I'm gonna create over here. So create a fave icon using SVG, appropriate for your project. So for me, I'm going to give it instructions. Create a fave icon. And then I'm telling it SVG, which is the specific format. It's like you are probably familiar with JPEG, stuff like that. Well, SVG is a format and it scales well. It loads very quickly. So create a fave icon SVG for payroll app. And I'm going to hit enter and I'll let it do its work. And I'm going to focus on right here. At some point, if it's successful, that triangle should change to something that's appropriate for payroll. And so it changed it to something. Now, whether or not it's good or not, you guys decide afterwards. But for me, this is good enough. I just wanted a fave icon. Next item. If I click on the menu, it's using a background which is not good. So, and it also selected black by itself, which wasn't good. So I'm going to tell it first, modify menu header or just menu colors to use theme colors. Something like that. It's just English instructions and it should use theme colors. It shouldn't be just selecting colors on its own, and it will do that. So now it's going to go in and start making those changes. Hopefully we will see something change in a few minutes. So now it's just checking for errors. And then once you get this, you know, it's telling you exactly what it did. So I'll check to see, well, it looks the same to me. I'm going to refresh it. It still looks the same. That may be okay. I am not seeing any changes. So at this point, and that does happen, it will tell you it did this, and nothing ends up happening. So first thing I'm going to do is tell it, I see no changes. Check again. And at some point, it isn't able to figure things out. It isn't perfect. It will make mistakes. So now it figured out that it's using, whatever it was supposed to be using. And I don't want it to mess up and take it back to an old version of fixing duplicate colors, updating theme mapping for Tailwind 4 version 4. So now it's making sure it is using Tailwind version 4 and removing duplicate colors, etc. So when we added in the menu, when the menu was added, it was not correctly using Tailwind apparently. So now it goes in. To me, it hasn't done a better job. It's messed it up even more. I'll let it finish and just to make sure, but it doesn't look like it's done a good job. Yeah. So it actually messed things up for me. It did not do a good job of fixing things up, which is why I'm going to go back here. You see, I had it do a bunch of things for me, but I had done my initial commit, and then after that, I had it do a bunch of things for me. So I'm not happy. To me, it has, at this point, I'm going to go back here. It really has not fixed anything. It's messed it up to me more than it has actually fixed things. So I'm going to get out of this. I have a couple of choices. If I know exactly what I want to keep, I can keep. Like the fave icon, it's probably okay. But global CSS, whatever it modified, I'm not too happy with. So I'm going to undo it, discard. So the icons I'm okay with. It modified something in layout. I don't know what it modified in layout. So I'm going to click here and it tells me, okay, what did it do? It has something to do with the icons. So I'm okay with that. I don't want to discard it. In here, it changed the variants and stuff like that on the menu. I don't want that to happen. I'll undo it. It changed this button. I don't want it changed. Drop down menu. And that also I'm not too happy. I will discard it. So these are the changes I want to leave. I'm going to check my site to see, is it almost like it was before? Answer is yes. I still got my new fave icon. Yeah, it's still not what I want, but it's not as bad as it had made it, at least to me. So I'll go back in here and I will say basically edit fave icon. So it's my habit, especially when you're using AI, to update save changes fairly frequently. And then periodically, you should make sure that you close it, clear it, and I'm going to run it again, just in case something did not go through correctly the first time around. So it's saying there's a warning, something is wrong. It's telling us this. And I'm not sure what this warning is for, but it's telling us there's something wrong. I'm going to close out of this, but it's a warning, it's not a major mistake. So something is may not have shut down properly. Remember, I deleted some files from this tree. That could have messed something up. So I'm going to just close this for now. I'm going to even close this. I'm going to close out my cursor. And we are at 7:30 now. We're going to continue in 10 minutes at 7:40. So what I'm going to do at that time is basically open up my VS Code again and get started. So 10-minute break and we'll continue. All right, we'll get started in just a minute. I am doing some edits on my side, and within a minute or so, we'll get started. Um, all right, should be able to see my screen now. So I'm gonna just clear everything. Um, I'm gonna be running it, but let me just mm, s- I'll just call it minor changes. I made these over the break, so we start off fresh. And let me go back to my page. I'm gonna just refresh it to make sure I have the latest one. And then I still have this problem with my menu. So I'll have a couple of different choices. First, I'm gonna just try to use cursor to fix it. And it's opening up pages, projects. I really don't need to all these files open, so I'm going to close them all out. And these old agents, I can just delete them out. I don't need to save it, so I'm just deleting it out. So I am not too happy with my header and menu. So couple of things that I can do. This menu is called hamburger menu. So remove hamburger menu and use standard menu. I don't need a drop down menu. You will need a drop down menu if you're putting lots and lots of menu items. So I'm telling it, hey, I don't need that. Just give me a simpler menu because this thing is giving me trouble continuously so far. It's not. So we're gonna let it work, delete. I'm telling it, hey, give me just standard menu items. I don't need drop down. It should start making those changes. And let's see what we have up here. So it created a standard menu item. Now, this bar, I can work on it specifically and fix it. So I'm going to go in here. And this is where my navigation menu is. So I can look inside and fix things in here that I want or I don't want. So as I'm looking at this one and I'm going to compare it with in here. All right, home, document, search, profile, settings. I'm gonna get rid of a bunch of these. I don't need them. We can always add things back on. So I will leave home and change the documents to first exam. So all you have to do is look through this menu and try to find what it's doing. So home is up here. I want to leave home as is. Where it says documents, I'm going to change it to first exam, exam 1. And for everything else, like search, I don't need it. Next one is profile, settings. I really don't need any of these. So I'm just going to delete them out. And down below, they have another bell icon. It's a icon for a bell. I really don't need that. And then down here, there is a logout. Do I need a logout? Not at this time, but I'll leave it in for right now. I look at my page, so it looks like this. Now, of course, I zoomed in quite a bit earlier on, so I'm gonna now zoom out what a normal page would look like. This is what a normal page would look like because I had zoomed in big time. So I've got my final exam, home, exam 1. So we are already on home. And log out obviously is not going to do anything. Exam 1, clicking on it doesn't do anything. Home 1, we are on home page already. So first, I'll commit my changes. So what I want everybody to do, and you should be working with me right now, you are going to link your exam 1 website to a menu item called exam 1. It should open in a new window. So where is your exam 1? You had hosted it on Vercel, from what I recall. So open up your Vercel account, log in using GitHub, and you should have had something in here for exam 1. You had exam 2, what? Exam 1. I want you to find that. And I'm going to go assume this was exam 1 for me, home auction. So I'm going to click on this and in here I can find out where I have it hosted. Home auction.vercel.app. So I'm going to open that up. Right, we were working on this last week. And in here, this is the URL. So I'm going to copy it and I'll go in here and it will say this update my exam 1 menu item to open this in a new tab. And I'm going to paste the URL and tell it, hey, update my exam 1 to open up this particular thing. So for some reason, it's not going through right now. To open an external URL, so it's saying some internet connection issue on my end. I'm not quite sure. I'm gonna create a new agent, delete out the old agent, and say update menu exam 1 to open an external URL in a new tab. And let me go in here. I'm having some sort of a connection issue in my account that it's not letting me, it's just not responding right now. So I'm gonna actually do this. While I'm trying to figure this out, please make sure you identify your URL, and otherwise I will do it manually. I was trying to have you do it through this, but if you get stuck, and in this case, for some reason it's just not responding. I'm not sure why. And it's just telling me connection failed. And as far as I can tell, I'm properly connected to the internet. So I'm not sure why. So I'm gonna leave this for a minute. I'll just close out of this one. Go back in here. So what I wanted you to do is make sure you have your exam one URL. That was a website you created on your own topic. So make sure you have that URL. At this time, is anyone having trouble finding their URL? Like mine is this one. Or are you able to visit your site? If anybody is having a problem, message me right now. This is critical. If you're able to get to your exam one URL, raise your hand. This way I know you are not going to have a problem with that link. And while you are working on that, I'm going to go back now to my code. So now, since I was having some issues with cursor, I will use a different AI to help me over here. So I'm going to copy this. and I'll go to some different AI, maybe Chat GPT, and I'll say, I want to open an external URL. How do I modify this code? I am using Next.js. And not only do I want to open an external URL in a new window. So let's see what ChatGPT tells me. There are two ways. One, it's saying anchor tag. This is a standard HTML way. And then on click, window, blah, blah, blah. This is an option, but it's a lot more complicated. And for what we're doing, you really don't need to do this. If simple static HTML, go with option 1. It's very easy, accessible. Update code for option 1. This is your standard HTML option, and we did this a long time ago. And it's showing me exactly how to do it. So I'm going to copy this, go back into my code, this thing right here. I want to highlight it and I'm going to delete it and replace it. So what we are doing in here, we're starting off with this anchor tag, standard HTML. We are saying, where do we want to go? We are telling it the target. Target underscore blank means open it in a new window or a new tab. And then we are saying, we could just type the text in, but no, we want to use this button, which looks like a ghost, which has these colors, so on and so forth. So we are telling it, hey, make it look like the way it originally was. And I'm going to just come out here. And I'm just fixing up the alignment of things, okay? And hopefully I haven't messed anything up. It's saying certain things in here which I will fix and remove. Like remember we started off and I had gotten rid of the user image settings. We left the logout button, but I had gotten rid of search and bell. So it's just warning me, you have things in here that you're not using in your menu, and it wasn't happy about it. So now it's telling me no problems. You just had stuff that shouldn't be there. So I'm going to look at the terminal. Yep, we are still running. Open up my page. Okay, so I'm going to close out a bunch of these. Well, let me first make sure this link is working, because right now I don't know if it's actually going to work. So if I click on it, okay, so it went to example.com. So it's working. That's obviously not where we want to go, but it went there. Where do I want to go? My own site. This is what it looks like, right? So I'm going to copy this URL and I'm going to insert that into my code. So I look through my code, I see where the button is, and I don't want it to be going to example.com. I want it to be going to my first exam. And then I'm going to check if it's working by going to this, clicking on exam 1, and it opened it up correctly. So at this point, I'm going to close out of all these tabs. Now, one of the bad things is that when I'm hovering over it, it's not telling me that this is a hyperlink. So I want to add hyperlink hover effects. So my first go-to is try to use cursor again. And each time I'm using it, I want to make sure I've saved these changes. So here I'm going to say updated exam 1 link. I'll commit it, sync changes. So I'm going to open this thing up again. And I no longer really need this thing for, the menu and all that. I'm just going to close that out. I'm going to delete this agent, start fresh. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to connect or not. I could still run into a problem. Add hover effect to menu items to show that the item was selected and change pointer as well. So typically when you're going on a link, the pointer changes to a hand. So I'm telling it, hey, change the pointer as well and add some hover effects like highlight it. I don't know what it will do. When you're dealing with AI, you never know. But it apparently connected this time. It's reading it. And I'm going to also tell it ensure that theme colors are used. So it's working on it. I added some additional instructions because it doesn't always use theme colors. But I wanted to add some sort of a hover effect when we go in here. I know it's working because it was opening it up, but I want better visibility. I want to be able to see something. So now it's making those changes and it's telling me we are having trouble connecting. This might be temporary and I'm running into a little bit of a problem. So let's just say try again. This thing right here, I'll delete it out. I want to see if we can at least get this thing working. And it did modify it over here. You can see that this file was modified. If it doesn't fix it, I don't trust the fact that it made some modifications. So I'll again close out of this. I come in here and I say, hey, discard changes. Because I don't know what it started to do and I don't want to be stuck. So if you start having trouble or you don't want to pay for cursor, you can always take the whole file and go into a different AI. So I'll go into ChatGPT and I'm going to paste it. I want to add hover effect and pointer change to my code in our next JS project. What should I do in English? What files may be affected? So the certainly our global CSS file may be affected. The button file may be affected. So it's not just this code by itself. A whole bunch of other things may be affected. And I don't know which ones they are. So I'm asking it, tell me which files may be affected. Here's how to add hover effects and pointer cursor to your button and links. And it's telling me in plain English what we need to do. Where you will make changes. Your component file, so like navigation menu, where your buttons are, and your global CSS file, if you want consistent files across buttons. Two ways to do it. Add it directly to your JSX at Tailwind, and it's telling us this is it. For your A tag, if not wrapped by a button, you can do this. Add custom class. So now it's getting more complicated over here. This makes all clickable elements respond to hover effects automatically. These files may be affected. So our navigation menu file, our global.css, because that's what we're using, and our tailfig config file. Now, since we're using version 4, this would not apply, but I'll say, will it be the same for Tailwind 4 plus? So I already know answer is no, because some of the stuff doesn't apply for this option. This, for example, wouldn't be there. But let me see what it says. Almost exactly. Okay. There are a few differences. So you can still use the same utility. So you can add this all familiar hover, focus, stuff like that. You can add it directly to your button. So where we have our button, we can directly add this stuff to do things to it. And there are other ways of doing things, but I'm going to focus on the simpler approach, which is you can add these effects right on your item. So in here, even though I gave it the whole file and all that, I am focused specifically on this. So this is the home button. Let's not worry about home button right now. My anchor tag, and where does it end? Right here. So in here, I want to add hover effects. So just where it says class, name, text, color, foreground, we can modify that. Again, many ways of doing it, but that's one way of doing it. So it's telling us you can same utility classes and you can do something like this. Hover, background gray, blah, 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 whatever you want. So this particular code, I'll copy it and I'm going to insert it in here. So right here, now this is not going to be using my theme colors necessarily, but we are saying when you hover over it, I want background gray 800 and the text to be blue 400 and the cursor pointer to look like transition. I don't know what transition looks like, but we can find out just by watching the hover effect on our page. I might have stopped it or okay, so I need to make sure it's running. Okay, so if I am on top of this, you see the hover effect. So it's making it gray and it's making it bluer, which is actually what I would want. But nothing will happen here because I did not do it globally. I just said, and apparently the pointer finger is called transition. And that's what I wanted. So you saw something minor. I ran into problems, how you can go around fixing it. So you will give me your exam one, you'll give me home, and then you're going to give me a link. So this is the next one. Link your exam one. Git hub repo to a menu item called a, let's just call it Git one. GitHub for exam one. It should open in a new tab/window. So this is something now we can do fairly quickly, because all I'm going to do is go in here. I already have this code, and I like to always save it. So I'm going to do edit hover/pointer effects. I'll commit it, sync it. So this thing right here, it's going to remain pretty much the same. So I'm going to copy this anchor and I'm going to paste it a second time. And of course, it will not be called. So I'm coming in here. This is going to change to a GitHub URL. And the button is not going to be called exam1, but rather Git1. Or I believe that's how I have it, right? Git1. Yep. So that's what I want to call it. So where is my GitHub account for this? I want you to go to your GitHub account and find your, so in my case, imagine it was home auction. Please make sure that it is public. Otherwise, I won't be able to see it. So this one is showing private. If for some reason it's showing private, it shouldn't be. Go under settings, all the way at the bottom, and change visibility. Change to public. Are you sure? Yep, I'm sure. Over and over asked you. It even asked me for my password. So this home auction repository, this is the URL for me. So this is what I'm going to copy and paste into my code. So right here, what is the href? Modify it, paste that in there. Edit, get one menu option. And I'll commit, save changes. But you should be able to see on my home page, I have exam1 and then same thing, but that's fine. Same icon, Git1. And if I were to click on Git1, it opens in a new window. It takes me and it's now public. Exam1, it takes me to the actual site. We are able to view it. Please make sure that your own site, it's working. If you cannot get it to work, you need to tell me now if you're having any issues, and I'll help you diagnose it and fix it. And that will take us to the very last stage. After I fix these two, what we're going to do on the home page. Any questions? This would be a good time to let me know. All right. So at this stage, what I want to do is make sure I have deployed it, that anyone can find it. So I'm going to go to Vercel and deploy it. So I logged into my Vercel account using GitHub, and I'm going to create a new project. And it's going to be based on my final exam. And I'm going to click on it, import. So it asks me, yeah, this is what I want to do, main branch. We've done this many, many times. And you're going to click deploy. It will take about 2 or 3 minutes. Now, when you try to deploy, sometimes your deployment can fail. And one of the ways you can make sure that it doesn't fail is to test it locally first. Um, so even though it's running locally, it looks like everything might be fine. It may not necessarily be fine. So here I'm going to give you instructions. Build your project by using npm run build. This will help you identify errors. And I don't know if my project has errors or not at this time. I mean, yep, right here it seemed to be running, but that doesn't mean it will necessarily build. Now I got a congratulations message. It took it a few minutes. It did build it, but it's possible I could have had some errors. So you can check for those errors, and I'm gonna add. I'll let me clear everything, and I can say npm run, not dev. Dev stands for development, but build. Here we are saying check if there are any errors that may cause it to not work. So once you get something like this, it's telling you, hey, everything went through. Otherwise, you'll get some sort of an error message. So I wanted to double check. That's why I did this. Now, I'm going to just close out of that. My website has been deployed. So I am going to go back to the dashboard and I look up my website. And what I want to do at this time is make sure that my domain is associated with this final exam. You all bought a domain a few months ago. That domain should be attached to your final exam. So next step is if build is successful, deploy to Vercel. Obviously, you need to push your project to GitHub first. All right, you are going to deploy. And next, associate your domain name to your final exam project. So whatever is your domain name that you got, it should be associated with your final exam project. So going in here, you can click in here and see, do you have any domain associated with it? Answer is right now, I don't. And I'm going to search to see if I have my domain. So I think I was using something called QC Prof. I don't know if I still have that. Nope, it's not finding it. I'm going to clear it. And I may not have set anything up over here myself. But if you go back to your home page where you got all your projects by clicking here, you can click in here to see if you have any domains. Yep, so I have a bunch of domains. It is a QC Prof, and I'm actually going to delete it because I don't want to use that. But I have another domain called accountingprofessors.com. So I'm going to just click on it or associate it with my final exams. So I'm going to first just click on it and see what happens. So it's coming up. It has mentioning something about DNS records, etc., name servers, all this stuff. Now, what I want to do is, again, right now I'm lost. I don't know where I am. So to make sure I can get back, find my project, I click on triangle. I'm on my home page. Now I'm going to look for final exam in here. I should have something called final exam. And my screen is different right now. Let me try finding it. Final exam. So if you're in one of my other courses, I had something called final project, but for yours, it's called final exam. So I'm going to make sure I'm in there. And for this one, I want to make sure I have that accounting professor's domain tied to it. So now I will search for accounting and I'm going to say add domain. So when I say accountingprofessors.com add domain, it tells me what is the best way to do it. What is the recommended approach? And that's what I'm going to use. And I'll say save. So once you save it, it's going to tell you if it's valid or not valid. It looks like, because I did my domain a long time ago, it looks like everything is valid. I'm going to double check it. The way I will double check it is open up an incognito window. And I'll try to go to my domain, which was accounting professors.com. And it's taken me to my home page, final exam, home. And notice again, on home, it's not highlighting anything, but here it highlights, here it highlights. So now if I want to look at my exam one, it opens it up. If I want to look at Git one, it opens it up. And I don't need these right now, so I'm going to close these. But I have successfully tied it into my domain. So we are at 8:33 now. Let's take a break. 10 minutes or let's do 7 minutes. 8:40. We'll continue again for the next part. So take a quick 7-minute break and please come back and we'll continue. All right, so we're going to continue. I wanted to be able to give everybody a quick break. So, the last part of your project is let me actually open this up. I'm going to run this again after I clear it. npm run dev. I'm going to open up this local host. And I usually like it in the first tab. So this is what it looks like right now. So what you're going to be submitting to me is an external link for exam 1, external link for GitHub repository, and make sure when you click on it, it actually takes you there. Because when I click on it, it doesn't take me there, then you lose points. And the home page, that's the last part that we're going to work on now. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to create a home page for a payroll site. Now, before I continue with this, I was asked a question that my domain name is already pointing to another project. And that is true. When you, several weeks ago, I had you create final exam, project 1, part 1, something to that effect. And I had you link it, your domain to it. I know that, I remember it. Now I want you to switch from that project to this project. And again, you do it exactly like I did. I'm going to open up Vercel. So if you were recording it, you would have seen how you do it. If you don't know what your domain name is, you can look it up in here because you have already done it. So I have right now 2 domain names, but this is my personal project. This is the one I'm using for the class. This was pointing to something else. It was not pointing to this final exam, right? So once I looked up what domains I have at Vercel, I have these 2 domains. I can switch, and that's what I did. So I then went home. I found out, and again, I'm clicking home to figure out I don't want to be on domains anymore. I want to be on overview. Then I said, well, where is my final exam project? I got so many. So this is my final exam. This is for a different class. So for final exam, I went in it. Then I went in here and I searched for my domain. Like imagine I have that other domain called task tracker. So I type that in and I'm going to tell it to add that domain. And it's asking me, yeah, are you sure you want to do that? Now, I really don't want to do that. So I'm canceling out. But you would type it in and then you would add your domain to this project. That obviously means it will no longer be pointing to your original project. And that's fine. I want it pointing to this project because everything you're going to be doing is I'll be able to see and grade through this project. So I'm going to leave this alone and do not buy another domain. I want that original domain. You told me about it. You had submitted it as part of final exam part 1. You had told me what your domain was. That same domain should now be pointing in here. Any questions? All right. So the last part of your final exam is this home page. And we're going to be creating some sort of an app in here. So to be more specific, I went to ChatGPT and whatever I'm putting in here, I'm also giving it to you in the notes. So you can modify it and use it. So I am asking it to help me create, and you don't need to use the word help me, but just simply create a simple one page. And I'm being very precise. Next.js. In this case, we are dealing with a payroll site for a class project. I want to make sure it knows it's a class project, not a commercial application, so it doesn't go nuts. For a class project. And then we are also telling it my project is already set up with Next.js, Tailwind, ShadCN, Lucid React icons. That's the technology we are using. And I'm telling it, I only need the page.tsx file generated. And I'm reminding it, use ShadCN and Lucid React icon components. And I'm also reminding it, use theme colors. So all of this is already written for you in here. This is your basic setup prompt. So I'll call this the setup prompt. This is what we are doing. Now, once we have the setup prompt, then we will give it the application prompt. And in here, it may be better to not tell it payroll site right now. I'll do that in the second one. So in the application prompt, I'm going to be telling it it should be a payroll calculator site. User will enter the employee name, marital status, and number of dependents. Now, is there something I'm missing? Maybe I'm trying to create an application and I'm missing, like maybe I need to give it gross income or something. So even here, it will not be a bad idea to ask it. So before I even get started with all of this, so I'm going to delete this out. I need to create a website for a payroll calculator for a class project. Again, make sure you tell it class project, otherwise it thinks it's a commercial application and it will expand the scope like you're trying to do it for professional, and that's not what we want. I need to create a website for a payroll calculator for a class project. No database. What inputs will be needed? Guide me in setting up a simple website in English, no code. I'm always very explicit. So in here, I'm telling it something very basic. So even before you get into this part, application, and before this, I would write here. So if you're doing something different from payroll, you would modify that. That's what I'm doing. But have it guide you and see what it gives you. So let's just see what I get. And it's often too extensive, and we are going to be deciding. So it's saying audience, single employee per calculation. Yep. Hourly or salary, pay period, weekly, bi-weekly, and inputs, what the form needs. It's guiding me what some of the settings might be, how you might do some deductions, what the tax rate. And again, even though I'm telling it, it's a very simple thing. It's getting fairly complicated, even for a class project. Imagine I did not tell it it's a class project. It would have been pages of stuff that it will give me. So you can look through and decide what you want to do. Um, and I will start here. Okay. I will tell it. Assume the calculation will be for a single employee, and then here let's go through this, and we will say single employee, comma, hourly only. We are trying to simplify things. By weekly pay period, or it's saying user can select. Okay, so let's just change it to user selects pay period 1.5 x for over 40 hours. uh, Taxes keep configurable, so user can type in deductions. So I'm going to skip the taxes portion and deductions, just tax, federal tax calculations, no health, pension, etc. deductions. So it asks for this. Now it going into the other inputs what the form would need: pay period, this, blah blah blah, salary. I'm going to ignore most of this stuff. Now for the tax table, I'm going to say create a fictitious or create a sample tax rate table. Use real use real 2025 social security and Medicare numbers of percentages. So I'm just letting it it goes on and on again. So at this point, I'm going to tell it generate a simple HTML, CSS, simple HTML and JavaScript site do not use any CSS. In other words, I don't want it to get into styling and stuff like that. I'm going to have it generate a simple HTML and JavaScript website. So again, for me, I just put some of these things. So first I told it no code. Now I'm saying, hey, I want to see some code, but I don't want my real code, which is in Next.js. I usually will have it first do this, and you'll see why in a second. When you tell it to do it in simple HTML, CSS, and right now I told it not to go with CSS, it's able to generate something fairly quickly for you. So I'll wait till it generates the whole thing. And so it did something for me. So I have a couple of choices. I could copy the code and I could go into my this file right here, and I could just go to my public folder, for example, create a file in there called index. And I don't want to call it index. Let's just call it sample.html. And I could paste this in there. And in here, my project that's running, I'm going to just stop it for now. So this is what you guys learned right at the beginning of the semester. It just created a, like a 300 line HTML page. And I can run it by right clicking and then open with live server. We did that at the beginning of the semester many times. So I just want to see if this is something that I like, don't like. So to me, overall, it looks pretty good. So if you are paying somebody hourly rate of $25, and you can again tell it to refine it as you want. But to me, this is pretty good. Total pay, I'll make this $50. Let's say I'm paying somebody $50 an hour for 45 hours. And these are the assumptions. Overtime is paid, blah, 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 which is fine. It's making up its own. I told it to make up a sample. And for the purpose of the class, it's fine. And I will say, hey, calculate it. So it gives me a payroll summary, federal taxes, some very basic thing. And let's just assume I'm happy with it. Now I will go to the next stage. I'll use the setup prompt, like right here. So I'm going to go back to my application. I'm again using this one, and I'll say convert this to a next JS page dot tsx, and I'm gonna give it those instructions that I had in here. Create a simple page next.js site for a class project. My project is also set up. So basically, I'm saying it when you're creating it, I want you to first convert this. And it will know what to do. So here is a single page.tsx file that you can have. And I'm going to wait obviously till it's done, converting it from a simple page. Okay. So you have already created a basic HTML website. You did that a while ago. So I want you to just upgrade that a little bit. So that can be the starting point for the final exam homepage. Use AI to convert your HTML, CSS site into a next JS site. This will be the home page of your project. Okay, so in my case, I got all of this stuff. I got it generated, and I'm going to copy this code. I'm going to go to my home page. So home page is the page which is under your app folder. It's called page.tsx. This is my home page, which has those buttons and all that stuff. I'm gonna delete all this. So all of this has to be deleted. It did not delete. Okay. And then I'm gonna paste in the new code. So once I paste in the new code, it's showing me some problems. These problems are coming in for various reasons. Um, First, it's using something called card, and we did not bring it in. It's using something called label. These are all shared CNN components. So I'm gonna try my luck one more time with the cursor, and if cursor doesn't work, I will show you how you can fix it. Let's delete this. Hopefully I'll be able to connect to cursor. Fix shared CN import errors on my home page. Let's just try to see if it will do anything for us. Now again, imagine this doesn't work. Then what I would do is go in here, take a screenshot of this, and go back to um, NAI, DeepSeek, Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, and ask it, hey, how do I fix it? But first, I'm going to try to fix it like this. And it seems to be working right now. But my aim is you're going to have issues and you need to be able to resolve them. And it should have been able to do this, but it ran into some sort of an issue. I can see that. So as it's doing it, if I look in here, you can see the number of errors has disappeared. Second thing, I still have some errors and we are not completely done yet. So we are going to see where we are. And once it's completely done, we should be in better position. Now I'm down to one error. And there are no problems. I'm going to go back to terminal. I'll look in here. It looks like it fixed all the problems. So if everything is fine, before I run my project, I'm going to build it. to make sure there are no major mistakes. If there are problems, you see, some of these problems are coming in. It doesn't like this. I'm getting, so I'm going to go all the way towards the end to make sure. Fix build errors. And always keep your backup here. Sometimes things will happen that the AI will mess up, and you should have a way of going back. So after a major update, everything is working, commit it. Now I made these changes, right? I changed this page.tsx, all that stuff. And if it doesn't work, all I have to do is go in here and undo all changes, because AI does make mistakes. I'm having you use it, you see me using it, but it does make mistakes. It is not perfect at this stage. So it's going through it, it's fixing whatever it can. But if it can't, I always will use multiple AI tools. So I use Claude, I use Gemini, I use DeepSeek, I use ChatGPT. So I'm always using multiple ones. And so this is basically it. So I'll have uh, I'll have you work on this. You have this information here, and you're going to work on this project. Based on this, you'll be doing some stuff next week on Monday. So this is something you should now work on. Uh, yours is not going to be payroll. You're going to do whatever you are going to do. And this is what I'm saying over here. This will be the starting point. Exam one should be the starting point. Whatever topic you had, you were doing a bakery, animal shelter, sports team, or whatever. Use that as a starting point to convert it from a simple HTML, CSS project into a Next.js site. Use AI to assist you. And I've given you prompts and stuff like that. It's all available to you. Take a look at it. Any questions, let me know. Otherwise, exam will be next week. And it's again, you can work on this in advance. You will be submitting something during the exam time next week, and that would be posted on Brightspace. What you need to do, what you need to post. I'll have something simple set up, but there's no preparation for the exam other than what I just gave you. So you're going to convert it. You did a lot of the work today already. But if something, you can fix things, you can do pretty much whatever you want in advance, but you will need to, I'll have you enter some information, some data about your project next week on Brightspace, most likely. But check Brightspace at the beginning of the exam time, and we'll have some questions for you. Okay, and I'm going to check chat messages. Okay, you do not do another exam one. You already did it back in September, October. You're going to just link it, and you can change to a different topic if you want, but email me first. I would like you to keep the same topic as a starting point. If you really need to change it, you can change it. But I'd rather you don't change your topic. Leave it exactly what it is. Questions, send it my way. Yes, so on Monday next week, you will come to Bright Space and it will tell you what you need to do. So you will need to do a little bit of work, very minor, on Monday, but nothing major. This is it. This is the project. I may have you do something small on Monday. Uh, an example might be I'll have site already set up, and I'll tell you to enter some data in it, something to that effect. So you will have to do a little bit of work on Monday, but it's not a full exam prep that you need to worry about. That is this particular thing, what we did today, and how you're going to fix it. I expect that will be about a 2 hour thing. You have already set up a lot of the stuff in class. You have about 2 hours worth of work where you're going to convert your exam one into a home page for final exam. Okay. The question that was asked, I'm going to try to clarify things. Exam one menu item is already leading to your website. That website was created in HTML, CSS. You are now also going to take that and convert your website. I'm going to share my screen. So, what I want you to do is imagine. Let me run this. I don't know if I fixed all the errors or not. It's telling me build is successful. Okay, let me try running this. And I'm gonna run dev. Okay. So exam one is your old stuff. Imagine exam one for me was not home auction, but it was this calculator site. This is now in Next.js technology using ShatCN, using, you don't have, it will not look the same. So what I'm going to do is come here, I'll look at this. Yep, this is what you did in HTML. And then I'll go and I look at your home page. And your home page will have similar stuff, but it will not be identical. You are using now Tailwind CSS. You are using ShatCN. You are using Lucid React icons. It will look different. It's not going to look the same. So your home page will be the Next.js ShatCN Tailwind CSS version of it. It's the same content. So this is your original exam. Don't modify anything. That's what you did in October. But use that as a starting point to create this. Questions, let me know. Yes, yeah, basically the topic is remaining the same. And you are basically going to show me two variations. Exam one was your HTML only, CSS only. You had no JavaScript in there. Even this one, you may not have any JavaScript. I don't care too much. If I've already tested you on JavaScript. And the home site will be using all this technology. that we have discussing here. It will be using, I'm going to highlight it. The new stuff you're doing is this stuff. Okay. That exam one was HTML, CSS. Now you're using Next.js, Tailwind, ShadCN, Lucid React icons. And you need to use these because that's going to be part of the prompt you're going to give. So you don't, it's going to end up looking very different, your site, than the original one that you created. If no questions, you can disconnect. If questions, I'll be happy to stay and answer them. You can always email me if something needs clarification once you start working.